Hello, my name is Sydney Lewis, and I watched 5 episodes of The Summer I Turned Pretty, and it sucked. I, a couple years ago, I watched half of the first episode, couldn't even finish it, and I was like, this is god-awful. And recently, on YouTube Shorts, I've been getting nothing but clips of that show, and honestly, I live for the drama, so I was like, okay, big purr, and I was like, okay, I have to do it right, I have to do it justice, I have to start from the beginning, and I did. Woof, that show's bad. I have watched a lot of TV in my life. I've seen good, I've seen the bad. This is pretty bad. Is it the worst? No. So I thought I would break down, first of all, we'll get what I liked out of the way, because there were things I liked, and then we'll get into the big comparison I made in the title, which is that I think that it is the almost failed revival of the Gilmore Girls. It also reminded me of Heartstopper. I think it's because it's a modern TV show, so I feel like that's more of an it's like heterosexual Heartstopper in a way. I know it's fake. So, let me get into that. We're going to start with what I liked. There were parts of the dialogue I liked. I thought it was natural. I thought it sounded like a kid. Teenagers, sometimes. I have to clarify, that is sometimes. There were sometimes the characters acted and I was like, whoa, that is not teenage behavior. Or said something and I was like, what teenager is saying this? And I liked the moms. The moms were nice. They were funny. I enjoyed them quite a bit. What else did I like? Not much else. Oh, I liked the original score. I thought the original score that was made for the show was good. I thought the music they picked was god-awful. So, just clarifying between the two. So the original score, what was the music that was written for the intro of the show, and then some background music, I thought was really, really good. I'm a music major, so that music is always really important to me in film and media. So that I thought was well done. The music choices, though, were questionable. And yeah, that's about all I liked. And I think the concept is a decent concept. It's like a good idea. You've got some meat. There's an idea there. Now, what is the biggest issue with this show? It's boring as hell. Oh my god. There's no meat. You have a great structure. You have a great bone. You got great bones. You got the main character. Hold on, my cat needs to go out. You have the main character. You have a great premise. She visits Summer. The two brothers. You got the moms who have their own complicated. The bones are there, and they're strong bones. There's no meat on those bones. I cannot name a single character trait about Belly. What is her deal? She has no ambitions. She has no drive. There's no motivation. She doesn't even have hobbies. The reason I picked Gilmore Girls as my inspiration is because Rory, so if you haven't watched Gilmore Girls, it is a show from the early 2000s. There's Lorelai and her daughter Rory. Rory is 16 when the show starts, and her mom had her when she was 16. So we got teen mom sitch, and Rory's going to this private school, and she ends up herself, about I think 1 season into the show, in a pickle between two boys who are very similar. The reason I'm using it as a comparison is because the two boys that Rory from Gilmore Girls gets herself in a pickle with they're very, very similar to Jeremiah and Conrad. Dean is the trustworthy golden retriever boyfriend, and then Jess is the kind of grungy thinker, whatever, bad boy that always has feelings for the main character, but doesn't know how to express them right until he fucks it all up, but then years later he comes back and he has his life together, but then, oh no, she's with another man, and yeah, it's a very similar story. The reason that it works in Gilmore Girls, despite it being kind of it's not a subplot, it's a main plot, but the reason that it works is because Rory is a person. Belly's not a person. Belly has no personality. She has nothing besides beach and brothers. Rory goes to private school. She loves reading. She likes to eat with her mom and get takeout and watch movies, and she loves music. She has a CD collection, and, she likes doing things. She likes friends. She's funny. She's outgoing, but she's witty, and she's a little bit of a loner. But she has a personality. She makes funny comments. She's goofy. But she's also a people pleaser with daddy issues, and she's kind of a complex character who makes questionable choices, but it makes sense. Belly has nothing. I cannot name something she likes. I don't even know, what does she want to go to college for? I don't know. I don't know what she wants to go to college for. I don't know what her dreams are. She doesn't even have any hobbies. Does she like to draw? I don't know. Belly's just not a well-rounded character, and neither are her love interests. Jeremiah is an idiot and an asshole. They're both assholes. I mean, they're young. They're teenage boys. What do you expect? But, they have no meat on their bones. They're just boys. In Gilmore Girls, Dean, who's kind of like Jeremiah, is very, he's kind of controlling sometimes, and he's jealous. And, he likes cars. He builds Rory a car. He, has personality. He has a family, and he has interests. And he moved from Chicago, and, he likes hockey. He plays hockey for his high school hockey team. And there's a reason why he acts the way he does. He comes from a different life than Rory, and it makes sense why he does and says the things he does. And it's the same thing with Jess. Conrad, I don't know why is he like that? I don't know. The show never explains it. Maybe they do at some point. Maybe the show does at some point give a reason why Conrad is the way he is. But I don't get it. Why is he so moody? His brother and him are going through the exact same things. And yet Conrad is acting like he's been abused his whole life, and his brother is just fucking... I don't even know. I don't know. You're not explaining why these characters are the way they are, and there's no depth to them. Conrad's just like that to make some difference between the two brothers. In Gilmore Girls, Jess is kind of like the Conrad, but his mom was very neglectful. His father left his mother, and he had to fend for himself, and he doesn't like authority, but he likes reading, and he likes books, and he also smokes, because that's a bad habit that he picked up, because he was left to fend for himself. And he has abandonment issues and low self-worth, which is why he sabotages his relationship with Rory when he doesn't really want to. He just does it because it's all he knows. And it makes sense. Yes, it's frustrating to watch, because you're rooting for these two characters to be together, but it makes sense. Why would you can't make these two characters brothers and make them completely different. I know siblings can be different, believe me. My brother and I are different too, but it's not like they were separated at birth. They also don't look anything alike, by the way. They're so different for no reason. You're not telling me why they're different. You're not, giving me a punctual reason. Why are these two people so different? Why do they treat the main female character so different? You're not telling me why. And it's also just not compelling. It just sounds dumb. And it doesn't help that your main female character has no meat on her bones. She's boring. She's plain. Same thing with Taylor, Belly's friend, best friend. She's boring as hell. I know 10 people just like her. She's boring. She's not interesting. And same thing with Belly's brother. These characters are lame. You made lame characters. And I'm gonna use Gilmore Girls again because I love that show so much. Lorelai is supposed to be Rory's mother. She's in her 30s. She runs an inn, and she acts kind of childish. She acts childish because she was forced to grow up at a really young age and act like an adult when she was just a kid. And she had a kid when she was 16. So it makes sense. She's funny, she's witty, she made Rory, kind of well-rounded and like music and movies and stuff. It all makes sense. Nothing about the characters in Summer I Turned Pretty makes sense. They're just basic-ass people. You couldn't even have given them like an ounce of personality. I know I could name 5 girls right now that are just like Belly. That they're all like, love this summer, and they're just so unique, and you can't pick between the two boys. They're boring. She's boring! Even if you had like given her a passion, maybe she loves photography. Made it like some Life is Strange shit where she loves photography and she's always taking pictures, and that's how she remembers all her times in the summer. She has all these pictures and she flips through them all the time, and like she's always taking pictures, and that one summer it's just different and suddenly the pictures have more meaning. Or I don't know, that's more creative than the whole show. Or maybe, I don't even know. These characters, they don't have passions, they don't have drives, they don't have a motivation for why they act the way they do. Why does Belly find it hard why does Belly make the choices she makes? I don't know. Is it because her parents are divorced? Is it... You're not, like, giving me a reason. In a good show, there's a reason why characters act the way they do. And maybe it's a dumb reason, but there's always a reason. I think only talking it was Gilmore Girls right now. That's because I've been binging it lately. I'm trying to think of a show that's like, Heartstopper. We're gonna use that show as an example because I think that they're very similar. The Summer I Turned Pretty is heterosexual American Heartstopper, and Heartstopper is queer British. The Summer I Turned Pretty. The American one is kind of drama-y, but like it also is lovey, but also like introduces some adult drama too. And Heartstopper is very similar. You have the 2 main characters that are falling in love, and then it's kind of complicated, and then there's the side characters that have their own complicated love stories and trials and tribulations, and the adults is a great story. So Heartstopper, Nick is a people pleaser. So if you haven't watched Heartstopper, there's Charlie and Nick, and they're in love, and it's great. And Nick is a people pleaser. He's always trying to show up for Charlie. Always. He's trying to prove himself. And the reason for this, we find out during the story, is because his dad left his mom and abandoned him and his brother. And he would basically he spent his whole childhood waiting for his dad to show up and trying to be perfect and be the best so that his dad would be there. Because he thought that if he could just be the best, then his dad would be there. Which makes sense as to why he is trying so hard to show up and be the best for Charlie, even though it's kind of deteriorating. It makes sense. It is understandable. And that is why this character is making maybe some awkward or cringy or bad choices. Everyone in the world is built like that. Everyone has a reason for acting the way they do. Every single person. It's not an excuse, but it is a reason. There's some part of your life that set this little switch off in your brain that was like, oh, I'm gonna act like that. I'm gonna do that thing because of this thing. Or I'm gonna act this way from now on because that's how I think I need to act in order to do... It's complicated, but it's true. And none of the characters in The Summer I Turned Pretty have that at all. It's not good. It's just not good TV. And it's fine TV. You can watch it if you want. Like, it's not like the worst TV I've ever seen. I've seen some pretty shit TV. But it isn't good. It is not well-rounded. It is bad. And also the music is just awful. Like, you could pick any music and you just went to the Billboard top 100 list and picked the first 10 songs you saw. We couldn't have been any more, like, interesting with that song choice. Like, it's like I'm watching someone scroll through TikTok when I'm watching that show. Which sounds mean, but it's true. You could use any music. You could use any song from any decade, and you just chose, like, the Billboard's top 100 songs. Like, are you kidding me? You could have picked anything, and I'm upset now because I like music, and I think that music is a great way to tell a story, but ugh! The Beach Boys are right there. You made a whole show about the summer and the beach, and you couldn't pick anything on the Beach Boys, or I don't even know, California Dreamin', like, or something. You could have picked any song, and you picked those songs. You picked someone's TikTok feed as your music choice. Good lord. I know the books are based off of Taylor Swift songs, and that's fine. But everything else, you couldn't have picked the Beach Boys are right there. Their name is the Beach Boys. They make songs about the beach, and you couldn't have picked them. Ah. Also, the, like, media references are not sly. Belly, your whole personality is liking two brothers, and one of your favorite movies is Sabrina. Brother! You... Really liking two brothers might as well just be her only personality trait I can think of. That's it. No dreams. Literally no fucking dreams. This bitch, all she wants to do is fuck two brothers. That's it. That's all her mind thinks about, which is crazy. And she talks about all these memories and how much she loves summer, but it's not translating through the screen. I'm a person watching. I should be able to understand why a character does things. What is motivating her? Nothing at all. That girl has nothing behind her eyes. And Lola is beautiful. I think she's so hot. But, like, girl, there's nothing happening behind your eyes when you're acting. I would kill to know what she's thinking about when she's acting as Belly. What is your motivation? Whenever I act, because I do acting, you gotta have some sort of motivation for your character. Why is she doing this? What is her passion? What are her dreams? What is she thinking about? What does she want to aspire to? I would kill to know what Belly's aspirations are in life, because at this point I think it's just marrying one of those brothers. Like, I'm being serious, and it sucks because the bones are there. Really great structure, really great, like, structure for what the show could be, and it just missed the mark. It, to me, is the failed Gilmore Girls 2025 remake, because I can tell it's trying to be witty, it's trying to be funny, and it's trying to have the romance, but also have that the deep parts of it, because that's what Gilmore Girls does. It's witty, it's funny, but there's also the romance and the drama, but it's also really deep and talks about a lot of really deep things that go on in people's lives, like grief, and it talks about family issues and all that stuff, and it does a really great job of it. And this summer I Turned Pretty tried to do the same thing, and it failed miserably, and it failed sadly, and it's boring. The show is boring as fuck. Your characters are boring, they're lame. I know 10 people like all those characters, and they're all just as lame and boring, and none of them have passions except for liking each other. It sucks. I literally could not sit past... I was gonna watch the whole show and then make a video on it, but I could not sit past those 5 episodes, so this is what you get. This show makes me really mad, so thank you so much for watching, and have a good one. Like and subscribe. Bye!